Hello, welcome to another division practice quiz. Alright, so we're going to end up having some decimals in these problems. Sometimes we start with a decimal, sometimes we don't, and we're going to see how we deal with that. Alright, so does 8 fit into 12? So it does not fit into the first digit, it fits into 12 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. Find the differences. 4. Does 8 fit into 4? Not quite. So let's make another 0, and this is going to be behind this because we started with 12. We don't want to turn this into 120, so it's really 12.0. Get some help from that digit. Does 8 fit into 40? That would be 5 times, right? So 8 times, now we think to ourselves, is 8 times 15? Well, that fits into 120, but where does the decimal fall? Okay, the decimal is actually going to fall right here. So the number we're looking for is 1.5. Okay, next example. So instead of trying to divide 75 by 2.2, let's try this. I'm going to write 7.59 over here. And instead of 2.2, I'll put 22. So then we ask ourselves, how many times does 22 fit into 7? Not at all. How many times does 22 fit into 75? If we look at that as a number 75. And that would be 3 times, right? What is 3 times 22? Excuse me. Okay, so the number we're looking for here is 66. 3 times 22 is 66. 75 take away 66 would be 9. Does 22 fit into 9? Now let's get some help. So how many times does 22 fit into 9? Well, that would be 4 times. 4 times 22 is 88. Find the difference. Is 11 again. Okay, so that doesn't 22 does not fit into 11, so let's add another 0 to the end over here as a helper. How many times does 22 fit into 111? And that would be exactly 5 times. 5 times 22 is, I'm sorry, 110. I think I said 111 a minute ago. 110. Okay, now let's be careful where the decimal ends up. So as if we follow where the decimal was on the dividend here, if we went straight up, it would end up being 0.345. But remember back here, we turned this into 22 from 2.2. So because we moved it 1 spot to the right, I'll move the decimal 1 spot to the right for our final quotient. So we should end up with 3.45. All right. So this is an interesting one. Does 12 fit into 3? 12 doesn't fit into 3, but what if we added another? We can't make it a 30 per se. We need to make sure we keep track of that decimal point. But what about 0.0? Now, does 12 fit into 30? So just for a split second, we're going to ignore the decimal there and picture this as 30. Does 12 fit into 30? Yeah, it's going to fit in there 2 times. 2 times 12 would be 24. 30 take away 24 is 6. 12 does not fit into 6, but if we give another helper 0 here, does 12 fit into 60? 12 does fit into 60 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60. Find the difference. No remainder. So we are done. So where does the decimal go? It's going to follow straight up and end up right here. So we're going to have 0.25 is what we're looking for. Notice before, like in this example, we moved the decimal point on this number. Here it ends up being a whole number, so there's no extra manipulation of the decimal point. We just have to keep track of where it was in the dividend there to end up in the quotient. Okay? Same type of idea here. 16 does not fit into 7, but what if we made it 7.0 or 70? How many times does 16 fit into 70? That would be 4 times. 4 times 16 gives us 64. Find the difference, and we get 6. 6, does that fit into, did 16 fit into 6? Not quite. Let's add another 0 to drop down. Does 16 fit into 60? It will fit in 3 times. 3 times 16 is 48. Find the difference. It's 12. Does 16 fit into 12? Not quite. Let's make another 0 as a helper. What is 120? How many times does 16 fit into 120? That would be 7 times with a little change. 7 times 16, 112. Find the difference here, and that would be 8. Does 16 fit into 8? Not quite, like one more 0. So how many times does 16 fit into 80 then? And that is fortunately exactly 5 times. I say fortunately because 5 times 16, 80. Find the difference, and we're finally no more remainders, no more zeros we have to drop out. But we have to figure out where the decimal is going to go. So if we kept track of it here, it's going to go straight up. And notice we didn't do any manipulation of the divisor, so we don't have to do any shifting after the fact. So really what we're looking at is 0.4375 right there. Okay, great job everyone. Have an awesome day.